Success is not an accident. It's not a lottery ticket. And it certainly doesn't come from shortcuts. Success is a result of the habits you build, not when the world is watching, but when no one is looking. See, most people are chasing results. They want outcomes. They want recognition. But outcomes are just the byproduct of something deeper, habits that are grounded in intention, discipline, and clarity. So what are these habits? There's a reason so many people feel lost, burned out, or unfulfilled, even when they seem to have everything. It's not because they lack talent. It's not because they lack opportunity. It's because they've lost touch with why they started in the first place. They've been chasing the what and the how of life, but they've forgotten the why. You can be busy every single day, productive even, and still be going in the wrong direction. Because being busy is not the same as being intentional. Too many people are running fast, but they don't know where they're going. And when you don't know your why, every challenge feels like a burden. Every setback feels like a sign to quit. Every day feels like survival. But when you know your why, when you are connected to a deeper purpose, everything shifts. You stop seeing obstacles as walls. You see them as stepping stones. You stop comparing yourself to others. You realize your journey is unique. You stop chasing approval. You begin living with conviction. The truth is, your why doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't need applause. It just needs to be real, honest, something that matters to you. Because that's what gives it power. And the most powerful people in the world, the ones who move us, who inspire us, who lead us, are not always the ones with the most resources or the most talent. They're the ones who are the most grounded in their purpose. They know why they show up. They know who they're doing it for. And they never let the noise of the world drown out the clarity of their calling. Now here's the challenge. Your why will get tested. There will be moments when it feels easier to quit, when comfort tempts you to settle, when doubt makes you question everything. That's when your why becomes your anchor. It reminds you that you're not doing this just for success. You're doing it because something inside you refuses to stay silent. You're doing it because you believe in something bigger than comfort or convenience. You're doing it because you must, not just because you can. Success without purpose is empty. It might impress others, but it won't fulfill you. You'll reach the top and still feel like something's missing. But when your life is rooted in purpose, even the struggles have meaning. Even the setbacks carry lessons. Even the smallest wins feel significant. So ask yourself, not once, but often, why are you doing what you're doing? What is driving you really? Is it fear of failure, or is it love for something greater? Is it just to prove others wrong, or is it to build something that makes others better? You don't need a perfect answer. You just need an honest one. And once you have it, hold on to it. Write it down. Say it out loud. Remind yourself of it daily. Let it guide your decisions, your habits, your energy. Because when your why is strong enough, you'll find the courage to keep going. You'll find the clarity to say no to distractions. You'll find the discipline to do the hard things. And you'll build something that lasts, not just in your career, but in your character. People don't follow what you do, they follow why you do it. And when your life is built on purpose, others feel it. They trust it. They're drawn to it. So don't just chase success, chase significance. And it all begins with a simple, powerful question. Why do you do what you do? Most people think success comes from massive action, dramatic effort, and bursts of intensity. They picture champions training till exhaustion, entrepreneurs working through nights, or artists losing themselves in a frenzy of creativity. That image is romantic, but it's not sustainable. The truth is, success isn't about how hard you work once. It's about how consistently you show up over time. Intensity is seductive. It gives the illusion of progress. It feels heroic. One day of pushing yourself to the limit can feel like you've moved mountains. But the problem is intensity burns out. It's not meant to last. It relies on motivation, energy, and often emotion. And when those run out, as they always do, you're left with nothing to stand on. Consistency, on the other hand, is quiet. It's unglamorous. It doesn't shout, it whispers. But that whisper, repeated day after day, builds momentum. It creates habits, it lays down discipline, and most importantly, it builds trust with yourself and with others. Think of it this way. Anyone can do something extraordinary once. Anyone can eat clean for a day, go to the gym for 2 hours, work hard for a week. But what separates the successful from the rest is what they do when nobody's watching. When motivation is gone, when the results aren't showing yet, when no one is clapping. That's when consistency matters most. Because consistency is a commitment, not a feeling. It says, I will show up, not when I feel like it, but because I said I would. It's a promise you make to yourself. And every time you keep that promise, you build confidence. Not the fake kind that depends on outcomes, but real earned confidence that comes from knowing you did the work, regardless of the weather, your mood, or your circumstance. We often underestimate the power of small actions repeated over time, but they compound. Just like interest in a bank account, small, consistent efforts lead to big returns. 1 page a day turns into a book. 10 push-ups a day turns into strength. 15 minutes of focused work a day turns into mastery. But it's not just about performance, it's about identity. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you're someone who keeps going, someone who finishes what they start, someone who honors their word. That kind of identity is what builds unstoppable momentum. It becomes who you are, not just what you do. Intensity asks, how much can I do today? Consistency asks, what can I keep doing every day? The difference may seem small, but the long-term impact is massive. The people who achieve lasting success, whether in business, fitness, relationships, or life, aren't the ones who went the hardest once. They're the ones who built systems that made showing up automatic. They removed decision fatigue. They didn't rely on motivation. They relied on discipline. And here's the secret most people overlook. When you commit to consistency, the intensity follows naturally. You don't have to force it. As you build momentum, your capacity grows, your habits become stronger, and over time, what once felt hard becomes your new normal. So instead of asking, how big can I go today, ask, what small thing can I do today and again tomorrow and the next day? That will move me forward. That's how real change happens. That's how mastery is built. Not in a day, not in a flash, but in the quiet, repeated commitment to keep going. Because consistency, not intensity, is what builds greatness. We live in a world designed to steal your attention. Every sound, every vibration in your pocket, every pop-up, every scroll, it's all part of a system that thrives on distraction. And the truth is, your ability to focus has become one of the rarest and most valuable skills in the modern world. If you can discipline your focus, you give yourself an edge that most people will never develop. Focus isn't about simply choosing what to look at. It's about choosing what to ignore. And that's hard. Because every time you sit down to do something important, a dozen other things are calling your name. Notifications, messages, headlines, noise. And if you don't learn to control your focus, something else will control it for you. We often treat attention like it's limitless, but it isn't. Your ability to concentrate is like a muscle. It gets tired, it wears down, and it needs training. And just like any other muscle, if you don't use it intentionally, it weakens. You lose your edge. You find yourself jumping from task to task, from screen to screen, from goal to goal, never going deep enough to do meaningful work. People don't fail because they don't have goals. Most people know what they want. They fail because they can't stay focused on it long enough to see it through. They let the world pull them in every direction, reacting to everything instead of committing to one thing. But here's the reality. You can't do deep work while living a distracted life. You can't build something great with a scattered mind. And that's where discipline comes in. Focus is not a feeling, it's a decision. It's a commitment to eliminate distractions before they eliminate your potential. It's the courage to say no, not just to bad things, but to many good things that aren't aligned with your vision. You see, it's easy to say yes. It feels good to be involved, to be available, to keep all your options open. But success doesn't come from saying yes to everything. It comes from having the clarity to know what matters and the discipline to protect it. Disciplining your focus means setting boundaries. It means scheduling your time instead of letting others steal it. It means turning off notifications, putting your phone away, and creating a space where your mind can actually think. It means removing the temptation to multitask, because multitasking isn't a strength, it's a trap. You're not doing more, you're doing everything worse. When you discipline your focus, you give your full energy to what matters most. You start finishing things instead of constantly starting new ones. You start creating momentum, not just movement. And that kind of clarity builds confidence. Because when you focus, you make progress. And when you make progress, you feel purpose. That feeling of momentum, that's what builds belief. But none of this happens by accident. You have to train it. You have to wake up every day and decide what deserves your attention and fiercely protect it. You need to create systems, rituals, and environments that support your focus, because willpower isn't enough. If you wait until you feel like focusing, you'll rarely do it. But if you build a habit of showing up day after day without negotiation, you begin to shift your identity. You become someone who finishes, someone who follows through, someone who isn't easily distracted. And that's rare, that's powerful, that's the kind of person who builds things that matter. So if you're tired of starting over, tired of spinning your wheels, tired of wondering where your time went, look at your focus, discipline it, protect it, master it. Because your future depends on your ability to give your full attention to what matters most and ignore everything else. In a world that moves faster every day, it has become almost normal to react without thinking. We react to messages the moment they arrive. We react to comments, to people, to problems, to anything that stirs emotion. And while reacting may feel like action, it often isn't wise action. Most mistakes are not made because people lack intelligence. They're made because people didn't take a moment to reflect before they responded. The action is immediate, it's instinctive, it comes from the need to protect, to defend, to prove, but reflection is intentional. It's slower, quieter, and far more powerful. It requires patience, and it demands maturity, but it's the difference between repeating a cycle and breaking one. When you react, you're handing control to the moment. You're letting emotion take the lead, and emotions, while valid, are not always accurate. Anger, fear, insecurity, those are loud emotions. They demand your attention. But if you act on them without thinking, they will often take you in the wrong direction. Think about how many arguments, poor decisions, or missed opportunities come from people reacting too quickly. An email that sets you off, a message you misinterpret, a situation you assume is about you. You respond in the heat of the moment and later regret it. You wish you had paused. You wish you had chosen differently. That's the power of reflection. It gives you that space to pause, to breathe, and to choose the best response, not just the fastest one. Reflection is not about overthinking, it's about understanding. It's about stepping back and asking better questions. Why am I feeling this way? What's really going on here? Is this situation about me, or is it about something else entirely? What outcome do I want, and what's the best way to get there? Those who succeed in life, in relationships and leadership, are not the ones who always have the right answers. They're the ones who ask the right questions before acting. They understand that just because something demands your attention doesn't mean it deserves your energy. Now, this applies to goals too. Sometimes we react to failure with frustration. We quit too soon. We tell ourselves we're not good enough, that it's not meant to be. But what if we paused and reflected instead? What if we looked at what the failure was teaching us? What if we saw it not as a dead end, but as information? That one shift from reaction to reflection can turn setbacks into setups. Reflection also builds self-awareness. It allows you to learn from your patterns, not just repeat them. If you never reflect, you can't grow. You'll keep having the same conversations, making the same mistakes, fighting the same battles. But when you take time, even 5 minutes a day, to think about what worked, what didn't, and what you can improve, you begin to evolve. And the best part? Reflection doesn't require a special skill. It only requires intention. It's something you can do anywhere, on a walk, in a notebook, during a quiet moment before bed. You just have to choose it. You have to build the habit of slowing down in a world that keeps speeding up. Because in that space between stimulus and response, between emotion and action, lies your power. The power to choose wisely, the power to grow, the power to lead, to connect, to succeed. Don't let the world rush you. Don't let your emotions rule you. Take the time to reflect. That pause might be the most powerful move you make. Success is often portrayed as a solo journey, a climb to the top, a personal mission, a race against the clock. But the deeper truth is this: the most meaningful success doesn't come from what you achieve alone, but from how you lift others as you go. It's not just about winning. It's about who you help win along the way. There is something profoundly human about service. At our core, we all want to feel useful, valued, and connected. And yet in the pursuit of goals, people sometimes forget that those connections are not a distraction from success. They're part of what makes success truly matter. Serving others doesn't mean sacrificing yourself or your ambitions. It means recognizing that your growth and someone else's growth can happen together. In fact, they often accelerate each other. The more you give, the more you gain. That's not just philosophy, it's practical. When you help someone rise, you build trust. And trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship, every great team, every strong business. People don't want to follow those who chase success for themselves. They follow those who create space for others to succeed too. You don't need to have everything figured out to be of service. You don't need a title or a stage. You just need awareness. Awareness of someone else's struggle. Awareness of how your words, your actions, your time might make someone's path a little easier. Sometimes serving others means sharing what you've learned. Sometimes it means listening without judgment. Sometimes it simply means showing up when it would be easier not to. In a world obsessed with status and spotlight, choosing to serve is radical. It's powerful, and it's unforgettable. People may forget what you said. They may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And making someone feel seen, supported, and encouraged, that creates a legacy far more lasting than any personal achievement. Ironically, the people who serve others often end up the most successful. Why? Because they create a network of loyalty, respect, and reciprocity. People want to work with them. People speak well of them. Opportunities find them not because they chase them, but because of how they show up for others. When you operate with the mindset of service, your perspective shifts. It's no longer about what you can extract. It's about what you can contribute. You begin to see leadership not as control, but as responsibility. You see influence not as power, but as the ability to make others better. This kind of mindset is especially important when you reach new levels of success. The higher you go, the easier it is to become disconnected, forget the challenges you once faced, to overlook the people still climbing. But if you remember to serve, you stay grounded, you stay human, and you keep growing. Not just upward, but outward. Success is not a finish line, it's a platform. And the question isn't just how high can I go, it's also who can I bring with me? So as you pursue your goals, don't forget the people around you. Don't step on them to get ahead. Lift them, teach them, celebrate them. The impact you make on someone else's journey might be the most meaningful part of your own. Because when you serve others, you don't just change their life, you change yours. You gain purpose, perspective, and a legacy built not on ego, but on empathy. And in the end, that's the kind of success that truly lasts.